The new title update for Madden 24 is finally here, and it comes with a few things that we have been waiting for, including something really big for franchise mode. Now, it's been about a month since the last title update, so we've definitely been waiting on quite a few things, and we're starting to get to that later point of the year where we're not going to see as many updates going forward. We might see a couple more into March, maybe April, and then it's going to be on to the upcoming Madden game. So we're kind of getting the last few out of the way here, so anything that we're still waiting for, we should expect in these last few months. And if you never want to miss out on any of these important videos or the upcoming Madden 25 videos, as we're going to start getting leaks and news for that soon, make sure to subscribe and turn the bell icon on. That way you never miss any of these important videos when they go live. So today kicks off season 4 of Madden 24. Now, most of the season related stuff is typically Ultimate Team related, but this also comes with other game updates such as gameplay, franchise mode, and more. So let's start first with the gameplay updates, and then we'll get into the franchise mode stuff. So one of the first things they did was they fixed an issue preventing defenders equipped with the edge threat ability from using non-engaged pass rush moves. And they added a dev note here that says, we adjusted the tolerance for non-engaged pass rush moves to trigger more. This will allow pass rushers to use pass rush moves that trigger before they get engaged by a blocker. So honestly, I really think this would mostly just help with like the standard 4-man pass rush. If you have a guy with edge threat, you should maybe be getting home a little bit quicker, because as we've seen this year, the edge threat type abilities definitely weren't as powerful as they had been in the past, which kind of makes it hard at times to just run a 3 or 4-man rush and kind of play a bend don't break style defense while also being able to get to the quarterback in a timely fashion. And that's why you see so many people doing all of these A-gap and edge blitzes, but hopefully this should kind of help mitigate that and make the standard 4-man pass rush a little bit better. They also fixed an issue where the conductor ability was not granting the user 2 adjustments as the QB was walking to the line. So that's obviously something that's pretty annoying, because as you know, in this game, you can only do one hot route at a time, and then you kind of have to wait for everybody to set up, and then you can do them one by one by one. Well, the conductor ability allows you to do 2 adjustments while you're walking up to the line of scrimmage so that you can get 2 of them out of the way, and on some plays you only need 2 adjustments, so it kind of allows you that ability to quick snap against the defense. Well, the ability was not working properly, but that has now finally been fixed. And here's a really big one. They did tuning to fatigue logic, so defenders who are not dedicated pass rushers will suffer a more severe fatigue penalty when engaging with a pass blocker that is significantly bigger than them. It says here, with the prevalence of defensive back blitzes being used as staple defenses, we noticed that there were many cases where the DB would get picked up by a tight end or an offensive lineman that was significantly bigger and stronger than the defensive back, but the blitzing DB would be able to engage in this mismatch over and over again without fatiguing. Now, if a defender who is not a dedicated pass rusher having a power move and finesse move rating below 70 engages in a blocking mismatch where they are outweighed by 90 pounds or more, they will suffer a significant fatigue hit. Now, this right here could possibly change the landscape of defense in this game, because we know a lot of blitzes are defensive back blitzes. Now, we do also have a lot of blitzes that are A-gap blitzes where they do come through untouched, so this won't affect those as much. But when you're trying to get that pressure off the edge, if your blitzing DBs are going to start fatiguing much quicker, this will maybe change how people play defense a little bit, because while they'll get fatigued while actually rushing the passer, they'll also be fatigued if you're dropping them into coverage as well, and they're going to take more plays to kind of replenish that stamina, and that really could have an effect on how they play. And this really could possibly change the game. We kind of have to play a little bit and see what happens, but this is actually a pretty big change. And they also implemented some general stability fixes, which they do with every update, and we still to this day don't really know exactly what that means. I mean, we just assume it's server related stuff, or things that could potentially cause the game to crash or freeze or anything like that. I'm pretty sure that's what it means, but we don't actually know what it specifically affects, but they always just throw that in there. And really quickly, before we continue on into the franchise updates, I do want to let you know about today's video sponsor, Underdog Fantasy. They are my favorite fantasy app, but my favorite thing about them is their pick'em game, where you simply just pick higher or lower on a bunch of different player stats, and if they hit, you can win some big money. And if you know sports, this really isn't that hard at all. You can take 2 players or more. The more players you pick, the bigger the payout. But one of my favorite things about Underdog Fantasy is when you're a new user, they're going to give you a free play right out the gate at sign up. And with the playoffs starting for the NFL, they're throwing these out like hotcakes. On Saturday, they're going to give you Patrick Mahomes to simply get a single yard, which obviously he will. And on Sunday, they're going to give you Matthew Stafford to get a single yard. And if you use my code RAY at sign up, RAY, they're going to also double your first deposit up to $100. So they're going to give you $100 free to play around with, and you just can't beat that. And if you're into basketball, there's daily basketball plays as well. In fact, for tomorrow's Thursday night game, they're going to give you LeBron James to score a single point. So make sure to take advantage of these special sign-up bonuses and get that $100 deposit match as well. Now let's get to franchise mode, and what everybody has been waiting for is finally here. The franchise crossplay live beta is now here with this title update. Now there was a private beta that took place a couple months ago that I've talked about numerous times on the channel, but now we actually have a live beta for everybody to play through the regular game. You don't have to download like a separate app or a beta version of the game. This is in the actual version of Madden 24. And what it says here is, with our franchise crossplay live beta, cloud franchise leagues can now include users of all supported crossplay platforms. Crossplay is available for Xbox Series X/S, PlayStation 5, and PC platforms. Internet connection, all game updates, and EA account required. Check the league settings to enable crossplay today. And they also added an important dev note here that says, please note that this feature is in live beta and can be implemented in any league. However, please note we strongly recommend that you start a new franchise file for crossplay in the event our team would need to temporarily disable the feature during the live beta. So basically here, if you have an existing league, you can enable crossplay and start inviting people from other platforms. But if you want to try this out, it's just kind of recommended that you do it with a brand new league, maybe to test it out, only because it is still a live beta, meaning this isn't the 100% locked in finished version of crossplay. They're doing further testing because they've done the private testing, but you also need to test this in the actual game itself, because as we know, in the past, we've seen a lot of different server issues, especially with franchise last year, and we just see issues in general. Something like this going live in the middle of a game that has been out for months, there's bound to potentially be some issues that come up. So if you implement this in an ongoing league that maybe you're already a couple years deep in, and they have to wind up disabling this to either update it or maybe fix an issue that they encounter, that's gonna mess your league up and put it on hold. And I don't think that's really a good idea to do that. Really, when it comes to something like this, they have to see what kind of bugs or potential problems could pop up, because while doing a private beta is great, you're never going to get the full extent of how something is going to work or what problems can arise if you don't actually test it in the actual game. So there's bound to be something that they're going to encounter that they haven't encountered before, and they're going to have to take it offline and maybe do some tweaks to make sure that it's working properly. So if you want to test it out, kind of do it at your own risk, or just start a brand new franchise league to mess around with it. But hey, it's finally here, and that's great. People have been waiting. I know a lot of people were kind of nervous that this wasn't going to come in 24, that we'd maybe have to wait till next year. I'm actually pretty surprised that they were able to kind of stick to their word here and get this in for Madden 24, which shows that they are, definitely putting that effort into things like franchise mode and making sure that the players have what they want, because I definitely thought there was a good chance we wouldn't see this until Madden 25. So I'm actually really glad they were able to get this done. Now, in terms of Superstar mode, all they have listed are various stability updates. So again, things to do with servers and crashing. They didn't add any new content, which I think is kind of a miss. I think with Superstar and the Showdown mode, I would have liked to see them do more with it this year, adding different content to it, and they just haven't done that. And I know Superstar mode, they've said it's going to be one of their biggest focuses going forward. They wanted to put it in the game this year. They wanted to get it started, and the next few years, building that mode out to be something much bigger than what it is now and what previously face of the franchise is like one of the top things on their list. But I really thought they could add more content to it during this year just to spice it up, and they haven't really done that. In terms of Madden Ultimate Team, I know a lot of people that watch my channel aren't the biggest Ultimate Team players. I will have up on the screen right now the different issues that they fixed with Ultimate Team, but it looks like mainly just some crashing issues. They also fixed an issue with the leaderboards that was not updating the data when switching between this week and the previous week, and just little kind of small bugs. They also fixed some wrong playbooks being used in the MUT practice mode. So some just little quality of life fixes there that were kind of just annoyances, but they didn't add or do anything crazy. And it also says here that they added over 600 player and generic portrait updates, which I think just means like the picture on the actual player cards, like in franchise mode when you're cycling through the roster and they have the player picture next to the name. So they updated some of the player portraits, I guess, to use their more up-to-date ones, and they also updated some of the generic ones as well to maybe look a little bit better. I think that's all that means, but it is listed here, so I thought thought I would just let you guys know. Now, a couple weeks ago, we also got a very huge leak about the upcoming Madden 25 game, and you don't want to miss it, so make sure to check out this video right here on the screen.